Hey everybody, welcome back to Bill's Library. I am back from England. I took a 10-day trip to England last week and the week before. And I returned, let's see, this is Tuesday. I got here Friday night. And I have just now got to the point where I feel like I can make a video and actually make some sense. Jet lag is killer, but it's not really about going there so much as coming back. Going there, we flew in and got there pretty early in the morning. I think it was like 9:30 London time. And so we just kind of got right into the day and started doing our days on, London time schedule. And it made things pretty easy, but coming home, it's a 6-hour difference, but it has messed with me so bad. For the first 3 mornings, I was up at 4 a.m. This morning, I managed to sleep in until 4:52. So I have a plan. I took a really long nap this afternoon, and I'm hoping to stay up and read until about 1 or so. That's my usual time anyway. If I can stay up and read till 1, then I'll sleep through the night, get up at 7, and I'll be back on my normal schedule. We'll see how that goes. But I wanted to give kind of a little bit of a recap about our trip while I'm sharing with you my book haul from England. I managed to pick up 17 books on my trip, so you can imagine how heavy my bag was, along with all of the other souvenirs and junk food that I brought home for my kids and all the stuff. It was packed out. But I wanted to share with you guys 15 of the books that I got, and then 2 of them I got for my grandsons, and they're somewhere. So anyway, you can imagine what those look like. So the first stop on our trip was Bath. I love to go to Bath. There is a lot of really great shopping there, a lot of fun historical sites to see, and it's just a beautiful city to explore. All the buildings are like this golden limestone, Bath stone, and it's just beautiful, but you can get lost because all the buildings look the same, so it's kind of hard to get your bearings. But we spent 4 or 5 days, I think. I think we spent 5 days in Bath and had a great time. One of those days we took a bus and went to Stonehenge, and so my daughter Selah was able to see Stonehenge, and we toured the baths, and we went to Sydney Gardens, we went to church at Bath Abbey. We just did all the fun things and really had a great time. So one of the books that I got there is this one called River Kings by Kat Jarman. So I am doing Historathon, and this is a really great book for this particular quarter, because this is a book all about the Vikings, and it says the Vikings from Scandinavia to the Silk Roads. So I think this is going to be a really fun read. I found this at Mr. B's Emporium of Reading Delights. Doesn't that sound absolutely wonderful? One of my goals for this year was to visit 15 new bookstores, like new to me, right? And so this is a new to me bookstore. I had not yet been to Mr. B's, but I will be back because it was a really great shop. So that's the first one here, River Kings, Kat Jarman. Another place that we stopped in was called Bainton Books, and it is a book bindery, but they also sell books upstairs and downstairs. They have maps. It's a beautiful shop. It's one of those, where you could just imagine what an old bookstore looks like, with all of the wood and all of the old stuff. It's just a very, very cool shop there, very close to the train station. And so upstairs there are lots of books that I believe have been rebound there in that facility. And they're expensive. They are really nice, but really pricey. And then you go downstairs, this very narrow, winding sort of staircase. And the downstairs is all full of more reasonably priced for tourist books. Lots of neat old books. They're probably the things that you would find normally at, your average British thrift shop or something. But for me, they were all things that I had, not seen before, and a lot of really neat old and vintage things there. So I absolutely loved that shop. Definitely going to go back there. My daughter found a copy of Jane Austen's Juvenilia, and I'm very jealous because it's a really neat copy from like the 1930s. And yeah, so that's gone into her collection, and I am a little envious of that. But I picked up 2 books from that shop. The first one is called A Wiltshire Childhood by Ida Gandy. And so we had gone to Stonehenge the day before, and we took a tour bus, And it was a fantastic tour. This is the second time that I have taken a Stonehenge like tour bus tour, but this one was by far much better than the first one that we did. We got 2 full hours at the site, and the tour bus guide, her name was Sally, and she gave us information all the way there, pointed out things. We got to see like the white horse thing, you know, that's carved into the chalk hillside. She talked about just the geography of the area, what things were called. She explains like the concept of Wessex and you know, Somerset and Wiltshire, and just gave us a good understanding of the area and, you know, how it goes, its history, whatever. Loved it. So anyway, the Stonehenge, from what I understand, is in the county or district of Wiltshire, and this book is all about a girl who grew up there in Wiltshire. And so it's just kind of like a, you know, a biography. I think it's going to be a good read. And then the other one I got from there was this one called Wessex, A Literary Celebration. And it is poetry and prose all set in the area there. And as I was flipping through, there's stories about Bath, there's stories about Stonehenge, there's stories about the White Horse on the hill, and other things in the area. And so I just thought this would be a really fun, neat, good, awesome, wonderful read. So looking forward to that. On another day, we went to the Guildhall in Bath, where there were all kinds of stalls, people selling different things. We got some jewelry, we got some tea, and then we went to Scoob's book stall, and I found 2 books there. One is Daphne du Maurier's The Flight of the Falcon, and he actually had several paperback Daphne du Mauriers there. I can really only find her in like vintage hardback copies here. So far in the US, that's all I've really found, but apparently there's this whole cool selection of paperbacks of hers printed. I don't know if they're printed here in the US. I've never seen them. They have really neat covers. So I'm going to be looking for more of those. But anyway, I found that one. Love her. And then I also found this book called All Among the Barley by Melissa Harrison. And I think this is also kind of one of those just stories about, you know, life. Just like a little, maybe biographical, but at least just kind of a story about a place. And I think I will enjoy that. Also in Bath, we went to Topping and Company. From what I understand, Topping had expanded into a bigger building since the last time I was there. It is a new to me bookshop technically because it's in a bigger building now, and I don't remember actually going there before, but I may have years ago, but I'm not sure, so I'm counting it. I got 2 books there, and I got this copy of Lady Susan by Jane Austen. Now I do have a copy of this already, but these little black books I think are pretty cute, the Penguin little black books series, and I only have one other in this series. I cannot find them here in the US. I'm sure they're somewhere, but I haven't been able to find them. And actually on the back here it only has prices listed for the UK and Canada, so I don't know if we have these here. But anyway, grabbed another one from my collection, so now I have 2, and they're both by Jane Austen. That's okay. But I haven't read Lady Susan in probably 15 years, so that'll be a fun read again. And then I got this book called Sometimes in Bath by Charles Nevin, and this is a collection of stories by him. So they're all stories about things that happened in Bath, but from a fictional perspective. So there's stories about Beau Nash, there's stories about Horatio Nelson. There's a story about Mr. Bennet, like a fictional story about Mr. Bennet from Pride and Prejudice. All about different things that have happened in Bath, modern and going back to the 18th century, and even before that actually. And they're fun. There's some good stories in here. There was a few that I was like, whoa, buddy, and I didn't really enjoy. And then there was some that just made me laugh out loud. So for the most part, I thought it was a pretty great collection, and I'm glad I got it. But I read that throughout the second part of our trip there and finished it on the plane coming home. And then my final collection of books from Bath I just bought at Waterstones, which is kind of like the British version of Barnes & Noble, but a little more bookstore aesthetic. For what I understand, one of the guys who's big in the leadership of Waterstones is now big in the leadership of Barnes & Noble, and that's why we see our Barnes & Nobles getting a little bit better over the last little bit, because he is applying some of his successful, practices that he did at Waterstones in the UK, and bringing them over to Barnes & Noble and trying to make it less big box warehousey and more like your nice bookstore, right, that you want to spend some time in. So I have noticed changes in our Barnes & Nobles, and I'm thankful for that. But anyway, went to Waterstones because I was looking for this. This was my goal, was to find a copy of The Last Man by Mary Shelley. So this, she's the author of Frankenstein, and which I don't love Frankenstein, I just gotta say. I don't think it's good writing, I just don't. But I'm probably gonna make a video on that because I have a whole lot of thoughts about Frankenstein. But anyway, I read another one of hers, Maurice, I think is what it's called. It's a book that was found actually like in the 90s, I think, found within her stuff. Maurice, I think the title is Maurice or the Fisher's Cot, something like that. I'll have to look for it and show you guys. But anyway, and I liked it a lot better as far as like the quality of the writing. I thought it was much better than Frankenstein. And so I'm gonna look and see what I think about The Last Man. This, I guess, is like a dystopian, futuristic sort of a thing. Apparently it takes place like maybe 2024. For some reason I have that in my head that that was the year this was supposed to take place. But England is a republic governed by a ruling elite. And this guy is the last man. So anyway, we'll see. Not sure a whole lot about it, but I wanted to find it, and I did. Yay. All right, and then I got 2 Wilkie Collins from Waterstones, The Dream Woman and The Haunted Hotel. I read The Dream Woman last night. It was classic Wilkie Collins. It was so good. I'll talk a little bit more about it in my April wrap-up video, but I just loved it. I really like him a lot, and it was a fun, easy, quick read, but good. Like, it was just satisfying. And I loved these covers too, and apparently they've got a whole selection of his, these covers on them. So here, if you kind of see, I don't know if you can see very well, but down here on the bottom shows the covers for the Moonstone and the Woman in White. So I'll be looking for some more of these and see if I can kind of complete my collection for my bookshelf. I think that will look really pretty. But I love Wilkie Collins, so I'm looking forward to reading The Haunted Hotel here really soon. All right, and then after we got done at Bath, we went to Winchester for a couple of days, and I rented a house there, which I have not done before, and we really liked it. It was really comfortable, a really cute house. It was right on the river and close to, you know, everywhere we wanted to walk to. And the thing about it, once I got there, it was like late at night, and I'm reading, and it's just me and my daughter in this super quiet house and an unfamiliar place, and I started to realize, like, there's no security here. Like the hotel in Bath had, you know, security. You had to use your key card to even get in the building, and you had to use your key card to get into your room, and it was just us and a locked door and the world. And so I kind of freaked out a little bit, and then I woke up in the morning and realized that I hadn't actually locked the door correctly. I don't know, I did what I do at home, and it wasn't the same, and so the door wasn't even locked all night long. So that was pretty terrifying. So I don't know, I think that next time we're probably gonna go ahead and stay at a hotel with some security, but you know, I don't know, it was fun. It was a beautiful experience. But I went to a couple of different places there. We didn't actually go to a actual bookstore while we were in Winchester. We just had a really limited time. I should have scheduled us a little bit longer there. But anyway, I did go to the Winchester Cathedral bookshop, and it's a gift shop. You know, there's all kinds of stuff in there. But I got 2 books from there. One is this book on medieval tiles. One of my favorite parts of Winchester Cathedral is the floor tiles. I just think they are so gorgeous. And this book shows a lot of them in detail and talks about them. I have quite a few books from Winchester Cathedral about the different, you know, portions of the different architectures and things there. It's just such a fascinating place. I could stay in there and visit for days and days. I love hanging out there. But anyway, this is just a short little book about the different tiles and kind of their meanings and maybe even how they were made. I don't know, we'll find out what all is in that little book. And then the other book I got from Winchester Cathedral is this book called The Pilgrim's Way, Fact and Fiction of an Ancient Trackway by Derek Bright. I picked this up there in the Winchester Cathedral gift shop. I think I started on the plane, but I finished it last night. And I will be talking about this in my April wrap-up video. It was not what I thought it was going to be, and so I wasn't super impressed. But I did get a couple of book recommendations from it, which actually just came yesterday, so Maybe I'll enjoy those better. Okay, and then the other book that I got from Winchester is this one called The Medieval Housewife and Other Women of the Middle Ages. Again, another good one for Historathon this quarter. And actually, so was The Pilgrim's Way. That one fit into this quarter as well. But this is just a short little book. See, it's just kind of little, about medieval women, I guess. I got this at the Westgate Museum in Winchester. So Winchester is kind of like the ancient capital of England, capital of Wessex, and I think, and it's, you know, like if there was a Camelot, like it would have been Winchester. And it has a old castle ruins. It has a couple of old castle ruins actually there, but we went up and toured like the King's Castle, and really all that is left there is a portion of the Great Hall and the Round Table. So you guys, if you know, you're familiar with King Arthur's Round Table, well, if you've not seen this yet, go online and look up the Great Hall of Winchester, the Round Table. There is a beautiful, humongous wooden table there inside the Great Hall, and it was painted by Henry VIII, or, you know, like he had it painted. And it looks like a great big dartboard actually, and it features the different knights of the Round Table, like from the King Arthur legend, but King Arthur is King Henry VIII. He painted himself as Arthur. But the table actually is a little older than that. It's probably a few hundred years older than Henry VIII's day. And so there's a whole history, you guys can read about that. I won't go into that right now, but the Round Table has been there for a really long time, probably close to 800 years or maybe a little more. And so we got to see that. And then when you're done at the Great Hall, you can go down to the West Gate, which is, you know, the gate of the city, kind of a little arch. Like there's the big gate for the carts to go through and the little gate for the people to go through. And it's still, you know, a lot of it is still there and intact on the hill there. And inside the West Gate, inside the structure, there is a museum. It was a prison, and now there's like a little museum up there with some medieval stuff up there. And so we toured that. And now that I think about it, I actually bought this book at the Great Hall gift shop. I did not buy it at the Westgate Museum, but anyway, we got to see both of those things that day, and that was really fun. They were things that, you know, I had gone to several times before, but were new to my daughter, and she had a good time. She said our time in Winchester was one of her favorite times. All right, and then finally we went to London for a few days. We saw so much in London, and I have been to London before. I've stayed in London for a few days before, but I hadn't really toured a lot. Like I have been to Kensington and Buckingham Palaces, and the Victoria and Albert Museum, National History Museum, and the Museum of London. I have toured those, but it was way back, like it was like 11 years ago, and it was before I really was into England like I'm into England now, and it was before I knew very much history at all. And so going back this time was really fun. We saw a lot, and it was really neat to see all of the cool things that we saw. We went for a walk, found Hyde Park, so we saw Kensington Palace and the pond and the swans and all that at Hyde Park. We did a little bit of shopping on Kensington High Street. We went to the Natural History Museum and spent a lot of time there. That was really fun. My daughter, that was like on one of her top things she wanted to do, and she really enjoyed the day there. And then we also went to the National Gallery. It's a beautiful art gallery. Her goal was to see Van Gogh, and so we were headed to room 43. That was the first stop, and on our way there we came around a corner and walked into a room where there was a giant Monet water lilies painting on the wall. It was massive, and it just took our breath away. We both started crying because those are some of my daughter's favorite paintings, that whole water lilies series, and she didn't realize that it was there. And so as much as it was cool to see the Van Gogh, I think what really hit her was the Monet. So, you know, we got to see that, and then we went on to the Van Gogh room and saw several neat Van Goghs, including the sunflowers painting, which everybody loves, right? And got the whole Doctor Who vibe thing going on. And then lots of other just amazing art there, just so much that we didn't even realize was there. I got to the point where it was really overwhelming, just, you know, one amazing artist after another. So that was super fun. And then we ate at the little restaurant there in the museum, and then we went to the shop, of course. And so I bought 2 books on symbolism in art. I love studying symbolism, and I have several symbolism manuals already, but I don't have things that are specific to art. And so I got these 2. This one is Symbols in Art by Matthew Wilson, and this is the one I was gonna just get and start with. And it has a lot of really great things in here, and it features quite a bit of the paintings that, you know, we saw and enjoyed there. And so I picked this one up, and then it was going to be it, and then I was like, oh, but this one has so much more in it. So this one is Symbols and Allegory in Art. It was put out by the Getty Museum. And it has a lot in it too, so it really dissects a lot of things. Here's a whole page on journey, and just points out certain parts of the paintings and why, you know, how they pertain, and why this painting is about a journey. But even just some more obscure terms like, you know, the word limbo or the word microcosm. Here's the paintings for microcosm. So it's just a little bit more in depth, I think. So I will enjoy putting both of those in my reference library. So those are the 15, I think I said, books that I got for myself while I was there. I got 2 like kids books from Waterstones in London, and I'm counting that as a new to me bookshop because I've been in Waterstones, but I hadn't been in that Waterstones. So I picked up 2 little kids books on London there. One of them is the original Paddington story, and then one of them is kind of like a touch and feel little book. So I have a grandson who is about 15 months old, and then I have a grandson who is about 3 months old. And so I think that those will be just perfect for them. But that's it. That's my book haul from England. We had a great time. I'm going back in September with my oldest daughter to these same places. So she is getting ready to get engaged, and it'll probably be a pretty short engagement, and then, you know, start off on her life with the man she loves. So I'm wanting to take her one more time on a trip to England. I took her when she was 15, and now she's 24, and so I want to take her one more time before she gets into wife life and things get busy for her. So we're gonna do that in September, and I'm planning on bringing like 1 outfit so that I have lots of room for books. We'll see. Guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. It's really great to be back on BookTube. I've been trying to get caught up with some of my favorite booktubers over the last few days or so. So make sure and say hi, and I will see you soon. Have a great day. Bye-bye.